What's going on, everyone? So for like a year and a half, all we heard was that Kyrie Irving was coming to the Lakers, right? We heard several times, it was a done deal, it was a wrap. The Nets and the Lakers even met in Las Vegas. You had Joe Tsai, who was finally ready to pull the trigger on Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant trades. Kevin Durant gets traded to the Phoenix Suns. The Lakers, they thought they were getting Kyrie Irving, and Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, said, nah, we're not sending him where he wants to go, so they sent him to the Dallas Mavericks in a trade. Well, then you had the just blunder of a season for the Dallas Mavericks. They end up missing the play-in entirely, and Kyrie becomes a free agent. So it was like, oh, okay, here we go. Lakers still have a chance. Lakers are still going to get him. It's coming. Let's do it. And ultimately, he re-signs with Dallas, and there are still many Laker hopefuls that are holding out that Kyrie will eventually be a Laker. Personally, I don't really see it. I was a guy that was fully on the Kyrie bandwagon. I just think Dallas has been really good this year. Well, not really good, but they've been good enough this year. Still not super sold on them. Maybe if they just start falling off a cliff at some point, maybe that opens up. But the reason I'm even bringing up the Kyrie Irving situation and bringing up and rehashing that is because of Zach Lavine, right? So Zach Lavine, there's the reports that, hey, the Lakers are on the list. The Lakers are one of his preferred destinations. The Lakers have a real opportunity to get Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine would be great. All of that noise. Zach Lavine is wearing an LA hat in a post-game interview, and it just is stirring this pot once again of like, hey, Zach Lavine coming to the Lakers. Now, I don't think Zach Lavine is anything close to what Kyrie would bring to the Lakers, but I do think Zach Lavine would be very helpful. But there's a lot of issues here with trying to acquire Zach Lavine that are even more than the opportunity to get Kyrie, right? Kyrie had a lot more power and leverage than Zach Lavine did, and Kyrie still didn't get what he wanted, right? So the idea that, like, even if Zach Lavine comes out tomorrow and says it's Lakers or nothing, I know he released that list of like 5 teams or whatever, and he had like the 3 top teams, but even if he said, like, hey, I don't want any of those other teams, I just want the Lakers, doesn't really mean anything. Zach Lavine is only on the second year of a 5-year deal. And we have seen, like, Damian Lillard is a great example, where Dame, Miami. I only want Miami. I'm only going to Miami. If you send me anywhere else, then I won't play. Like, you heard all the talks from the agent and all that stuff. I know that they denied that stuff, but, you know, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. Dame did everything he could to push his way to the Heat. And guess what? He's on the Milwaukee Bucks now. And Zach Lavine could follow the same suit. But when you're not a free agent, then that really limits you on the power that you have to go and push for your preferred destination. Because teams look at it as like, hey, what, are you just not going to play? I'll take my bluff. I mean, that's what the Bucks did with the Damian Lillard situation. They said, hey, if you really aren't going to play, well, we'll take a chance on that. We're going to trade for you anyway. And they went and traded for him, and guess what? He's played. Right? So with the Zach Lavine situation, I do think that it's going to be a tricky road for the Lakers. I still fully stand by, I don't believe the Lakers are going to get Zach Lavine. I don't see Zach Lavine in a Laker uniform anytime soon. I just don't. Now, the fact that he's making $40 million a year could make things difficult for some teams because he's not a superstar. I would argue that he's not even a star. Right? Like, he's definitely like a great player, all-star level player, but like, where does he rank? Right? Like, where does he rank on the list of top players in the league right now? He's not top 10. He's not top 15. He's not top 20. Is he top 25? I think you can make an argument he's not. Is he top 30? Maybe he's somewhere in that 30 range. So he's making superstar money. He's making 40 plus million a year, and it's only going to get higher. And yeah, in 2025 or whatever, that's when the cap space is supposed to skyrocket. So his contract will be a little more valuable. But even between now and then, like, you still have to get through this year. You'd have to get through next year. And I just don't know. Like, Zach Lavine would be great with the Lakers, right? I do think in the right situation, Zach Lavine would be great with several teams. I really do. I think Zach Lavine would be great with like a team like Miami, right? I think he needs to go to a place that really needs what he's best at, right? That rim pressure, that just vacuum scorer, a guy that can really light it up, a guy that can, a team that needs his athleticism, his just quickness. But I just think most teams are going to look at it and go, well, Zach Lavine is making $40 million a year, so we got to clear out $40 million in salary. We got to meet the asking price for Zach Lavine. Top of that, how much better does he make us? On top of that, he has an injury history, so there's a risk of him just not being able to stay healthy. I just think when you look at all these factors, you're going to start checking off this list here, and I think the pool for teams are going to be small, right? I really think that there's just going to be maybe a handful of teams that legitimately try to get Zach Lavine. Maybe there's that one team that comes out of the woodworks, like a Sacramento, right? Sacramento wanted Zach Lavine. They even made him an offer sheet a couple years ago and ultimately didn't get him, although that was the old regime. And maybe a team like that is like, hey, we need to shake something up, right? Like, go get Zach Lavine, kind of upgrade at the shooting guard position. Maybe. I hope not. And Zach has Sacramento as like one of the teams to look out for, apparently. But outside of that, I really think it's going to boil down to like Philly, the Knicks, Miami. Maybe there's some like other surprise team, as I mentioned. But he's going to want to go to a contender. And there's very few that would be willing to blow it up. Because again, he's not that great impact player. I think he would have a great impact on, again, Miami. I think he'd have a great impact on the Lakers. But I think for many of these teams that aren't having the scoring struggles that the Lakers are having, I think that he would just kind of be like another point, right? Where rather than like that huge impact guy. And I also think in other situations, he might be a little counterproductive, right? Like, I use Sacramento as an example, right? Like Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox and Zach Lavine, I just see being completely redundant and clashing, right? Not like, clashing like personality-wise, but I mean like they both are very similar in the sense of like they want to get the ball, they want to get high volume, they want to get to the basket. De'Aaron Fox is, fourth quarter, that's his zone. One of the best closers in the game, one of the best fourth quarter players in the game, right? It's just like, where does Zach Lavine fit in late in games? And defensively, he doesn't help, right? I just think he needs to go to a place that can kind of highlight his assets, like what he's best at. But I don't think it's worth the Lakers to go and make that push. And on top of the Lakers not going and making that push, I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to outbid a team like the Knicks if the Knicks want him, right? The Knicks could easily outbid the Lakers and just, there you go. Like, and still have plenty of assets and pieces to just go get other things if need be, where the Lakers are very limited. We got like one first. We got some nice young players, don't get me wrong. But we got like one first and like a pick swap that we could use, right? I don't see that for a team like the Knicks that has just like a treasure trove of picks, or Philly, or even Miami. Like, they could go and put together a package maybe even less than what they did for Dame and end up getting Zach Lavine. So I sticking by, and I'm defaulting to, I believe DeMar DeRozan will be a Laker. I do. I genuinely believe DeMar DeRozan, he's the guy that the Lakers need to focus on. He's the guy that they need to kind of lock into. And, obviously if they can get some other pieces, DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso, again, you could get all three of those guys for the price of Zach Lavine. So, like, why would you go and get Zach Lavine when you get DeMar DeRozan that'll solve a lot of the same things that Lavine will solve, but also get a guy in Alex Caruso and get a guy in DeMar DeRozan, right? Like, or you could get a guy in, like, let's say you can't get Caruso, but you could get Drummond, right? Like, there you go. Like, or maybe we could get a Torrey Craig or something like that, right? Well, now you got another perimeter guy to make up for whatever you gave out for DeMar DeRozan. You also got another center, and now you got a guy that can go give you 20 to 30 a night, every single night like clockwork. I just think that that's the better approach. I think DeMar has more power, more leverage, him being a free agent. We know he wants to be a Laker. We know he'll re-sign with the Lakers. He won't cost as much as Zach Lavine would. Also, him being a free agent, if it doesn't work this season for whatever, you could just let him go if you needed to, or you could re-sign him, and he's not going to be 40 plus million. You know, he'll probably sign for around what you signed D'Lo for. So you probably get him for 20 million, right? Like, I just think that would be the better approach. And that's what the Lakers should kind of focus on. Focus on DeMar DeRozan, kind of stay away from Zach Lavine. I just don't think I think Zach Lavine is kind of going to end up, as we progress, I think Zach Lavine's going to turn into that Kyrie situation where it's like he wants to go to Lakers, he's dropping hints, he's doing this, doing that. Lakers are going to be heavily talked about with Zach Lavine, but ultimately he ends up going elsewhere. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think, no, we can get Zach Lavine, we got to get Zach Lavine? Do you think, no, like, let Zach Lavine go elsewhere. Let's go get a DeMar DeRozan. Let's go get somebody else, whomever. Love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate you all. See you in the next one. Thank you.